Hello everyone, thank you for joining our School on Wheels Lunch Hour Workshop, Technology Tools for Tutors. My name is Natasha Bayes and I'm the Education and Training Coordinator for School on Wheels. Today there will be a panel of us presenting during the workshop about how technology is being implemented in our program and tools you can use to engage your student and target specific areas to work on with them. We'll pause for questions after each section and also have a dedicated time at the end for questions. For the purposes of sound quality, all participants are muted. You have the ability to ask questions at any time using the questions pane on the right-hand side. Simply type in your question and hit send. So at this time, I'd like to have our panel introduce themselves. We'll start with Matt.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt Robb and I'm the Program Director for School on Wheels. And I've been with the organization for 10 years now. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here today and for everything you do for School on Wheels and for your students. Without you, we wouldn't exist, so thank you very much. And here's Ryan.
Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Locanti. I am the Operations Coordinator at School on Wheels, and I've been here for 5 years, and I'm very excited to go through this presentation with you guys. Here is Beth.
Hello everyone, my name is Beth Romero. I've been a volunteer tutor with School on Wheels for about a year. Previous to that, I was a teacher in the elementary classroom for 9 years. I recently finished a master's in education where School on Wheels allowed me to do my action research study observing their students using online tools. So I'm here to discuss that a little more.
Okay, this is Matt again, and I'm going to start. I just want to talk about quickly in general what this is going to be about. We want to talk about technology in education in general, what's happening these days in education when it comes to technology, but we do want to focus specifically on what we call blended learning, which is a major part of our program now, and we want to go through what we're doing with blended learning and also give you some technology tools that you could use when working with your students. So that's what this is going to be about today. I would like to start with a little story, a little history. This is a young man named Ned Ludd. Ned Ludd lived in England in the late 1700s, and in 1779, in a fit of passion, Ned Ludd destroyed a stocking frame, or 2 stocking frames, which were machines that were used in the weaving industry in England. Several decades later, in the early 1800s, these machines were starting to take the jobs of textile artisans in England. And so these textile artisans organized and started smashing the machines during the night. And when their bosses would come in and ask them what happened, they would say Ned Ludd did it. So Ned Ludd became this mythical leader of this group, and he was, they said he lived in Sherwood Forest with Robin Hood. And the people who were doing this became known as Luddites. And Luddite might be a word that you've heard before. And I'm talking about this because that word has evolved to the modern day. It now means those opposed to or slow to adopt or incorporate into their lifestyle industrialization, automation, computerization, or new technologies in general. And I'm sure everyone out there knows someone who they would call a Luddite, someone who still doesn't have a cell phone, or even these days someone who doesn't have a smartphone would probably still be called a Luddite. And that's fine. People can be Luddites, and that's fine in your everyday life, but it's our belief that you can't be a Luddite anymore when it comes to education. Technology is such a part of our students' lives now, and it's such a part of education that we have to learn about and embrace the technology that our students are using, because they learn differently than we ever did, and it's evolving quickly. So it's really important for people in education to keep up with technology, understand what the students are using and embrace that technology to help students learn the best way they can. So, the antonym of Luddites, all of you, all of School on Wheels, and our volunteers. And that's really what we want to talk about today, how we do embrace that technology to help our students. So just why do we need to embrace technology? Well, it's a reality. It's part of our students' lives, a major part of our students' lives, more than we ever could have imagined. And students without access will fall behind their peers. And of course, homeless students who we work with, they have very limited access to technology, especially compared to your typical student in the United States. So we want to try and bridge that gap and get that technology to them so that they can keep up with their peers when it comes not only to education, but just in using technology. Because of innovation, I love this stat, 65% of today's grade school kids will end up in jobs that have not been invented yet, and those most likely will involve technology. And then, of course, at School on Wheels, we're looking at the use of technology to help us work with more students, help you, the tutors, be more effective when working with your students. And it will supplement, it will not replace the one-on-one tutoring. We're not looking to do away with that in-person relationship that you have with your student, but technology is a way to really enhance what we're doing. And like I said, find ways to help fill in the gaps of our students. So just another example of how fast technology is advancing and how it's not only changing education but really changing our culture. I want you to put yourself back in the year 2000, put your mindset back there. We just survived Y2K, and it's the year of the hanging Chad. I guess there might be some young people listening that can't remember 2000, which is a little bit scary, and that they would not know what a hanging Chad is. But if you can remember the year 2000, put yourself back there and imagine that you came across this written exchange by two of my coworkers. What would you make of this 14 years ago? It's incomprehensible. I mean, I don't even really understand it now, but 14 years ago it would look like aliens wrote it or a computer language or something like that. But this is being viewed by many linguists as an actual new language that has evolved because of technology, because of text messaging, IMing. And there's actually a great TED Talk. If you don't know what a TED Talk is, they're great little short talks by experts. There are videos all over the place. Just Google TED Talks and you can find them. There's one by a linguist named John McWhorter, all about this and how this is a language, or at the very least a dialect, that's evolving because of technology. And so my whole point in showing you this and talking about this is that if you're a 14-year-old in the United States today, you understand what this says, at least most of it. This might be a little bit of an extreme example, but you understand this, and this is the way you communicate with your peers. And they're saying that those students, it's not that they're falling behind in proper English or English that you use in school. They're, for all purposes, bilingual because they speak this language with their fingers, and then they know when they go into the classroom they need to speak proper English and write proper English. And that's actually a benefit for them. So we have to keep up with this. We might soon have to take classes to understand this language because we need to understand where our students are coming from and just be able to communicate with them. If this is how they're talking now, what's it going to look like in 10 years? So I'm sure some of you want this translated for you. So Ryan and I are going to do a dramatic reading of this text message exchange, or at least a reading. It might not be dramatic. Just to translate it for you.
I'll try to be dramatic.
Okay. I'll be Janet. Donna, are you vertical? Did you see The Bachelor? OMG, OMG. I'm sure you all know what that means.
Calm yourself. Juan Pablo is such an idiot. Laugh out loud.
Excuse me? Juan Pablo is totally cool, sweet, and awesome. Just kidding. Laugh out loud. He's no genius, but has a good sense of humor.
Laughing my head off. I love acronyms. Getting sleepy. Good night.
Laugh out loud. Later. Love you as a friend. Thank you. I'm picturing everyone giving us a standing ovation. All right, so enough. Let's get into it. I want to talk about blended learning because this is a word that we're using to describe our programs using technology, and you will hear this in regards to education because it is something that's relatively new in the field of education, but it is blowing up. It's expanding quickly. Blended learning, just to give you a definition, it is student learning that uses both in-person instruction and online or computer-based tools. So some characteristics of this. Blended learning gives the students some control over time, place, path, or pace, which means that using technology they can learn when they want to, they can use these programs when they want to, where they want to. A lot of the programs adapt to the students, so it kind of goes, they take their own path to learning, they choose their path, and then pace. These programs many of them will adapt so that if students are behind, it will slow down. If they're ahead, it will advance to be up to their level. And of course, it's evolving scary fast. We've been looking at this for 2.5, 3 years now, and I mean, it seems like every week some new program is popping up and we're discovering new things all the time. It's a field that's really expanding, and yeah, we don't expect it to stop evolving anytime soon. So we're just trying to keep up with it and find the tools that work best for our students. And before I get to our programs for our students, I just want to talk a little bit about how it's being used in the traditional classroom, because you might hear people talking about it, and it's a little bit different than the ways we can use it because our program is so unique. There are many ways that they use it in the regular classroom, but a couple of the major ones. One is called a rotation model, and this is used in many schools to help not only individualize the learning of the students using the computer programs, but also allow the teachers to work with smaller groups of students and be able to give more one-on-one attention to the students in their classroom. So how it works is a group, or maybe half the classroom, could be on these learning programs on the computers, and when they're doing that, the teacher can work directly with the rest of the class or a smaller group of students, and then they rotate. And this really helps, especially in schools where the classrooms are very large. Technology is helping the teachers to give more individualized attention, and also the computer programs help assess the students and tell the teachers where the students need help. Something else you might hear is the flipped classroom. So in the traditional classroom, as most of us who are older, when we went to school, the way it worked is you go to school, the teacher stands in front of the class and lectures and teaches you, and then you get work to take home, your homework, to practice what you learned in school. Flipped classrooms are the exact opposite. When you're at home, you learn the new concepts. So you watch videos, you listen to podcasts. A lot of it has to do with technology. You might read as well to learn the concepts. And then in school is when you do the work. So you're basically doing homework in school so that the teacher is there in case you have problems to help you out. So it's really interesting, and by the way, the jury's out on how well these things work because the technology is so new and these models are so new. but I think it's safe to say they're not going away. They'll definitely change and evolve, but the use of technology in these ways in the classroom is here to stay. Okay, so that's kind of how technology is used, blended learning is used in the traditional classroom. These are the 4 ways that we're using it at School on Wheels and the ways that you'll be able to use it with your students. The first is through educational apps, which Ryan will talk about in a minute. We're also going to point you to different digital learning resources that are online. There are a lot of great free nonprofit organizations that have websites with a great deal of learning resources. Online tutoring, which we'll demonstrate, and then adaptive learning, which was what I was referring to when talking about the rotation model in the traditional classroom. And we're using a program called Stride Academy, and we're going to show that to you in a little bit. But we're going to start by talking about educational apps, and here is Ryan to talk about that.
Hi, everybody. I love the Luddite origin.
Thank you.
I just want to talk about educational apps and start there. So let me just define it. An app is application software designed to run on smartphones, tablets, and other mobile devices. And 10 years ago, you probably had no idea what that word meant. But now I bet most of you, or not, if not all of you, use apps every single day. They can be used to browse Facebook, take photos, find your nearest Thai restaurant, but there are also hundreds of educational apps available as well. And most of you probably also know where to find and download new apps, but I wanted to point out that there are 2 main places, 2 main stores that you'll encounter, and that's the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Both of these have over 1 million apps in their stores. And I just want to also mention that some apps are available in both stores, but others are only Google or only Apple. So you may run into an app that we cover or that you find somewhere online that's only available in one of the stores. You may find an equivalent in the other store. You might not. Just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. And I wanted to focus on these 2 stores because, well, 65% of all mobile users in the United States have a smartphone, but 93% of them are either Android or Apple. So there are BlackBerry and Windows phones out there, and we know that you're out there. And there are apps available for those devices, but again, 93% of you and in the United States will probably see these 2. And just like Matt said that the blended learning tools are evolving every day, new apps are added to these stores every single day. So you know, next week there might be other ones that we've never heard of that are groundbreaking. So as of 2012, just wanted to say that the internet is accessed more through apps than through mobile browsers. This is another thing that's not going away and we need to embrace. In 2013, apps were downloaded over 100 billion times. And in 2014, smartphone users worldwide will total 1.75 billion, which is a quarter of the world's population. Educational apps, they're great because they're self-contained. They can provide direct instruction or be game-like, like the picture to the right. Many don't need internet connection after you download them, and most of them are free or relatively cheap. I know that Apple has a stat out there that their average app is 19 cents, and that's because of there's so many free apps, but most of them can be found under a couple dollars. The benefits of using educational apps, if you're working in a location without internet access, you can use those ones that are downloaded to your phone. There are also many apps that need internet access, but you can access them over cell phone coverage. So if you have cell phone coverage in your tutoring location, you can still use those apps. They're good for the group group tutoring using that rotation model that Matt described earlier. And they're also good as a reward in one-on-one situations. Many apps, they are used for instruction, but they're also ones that look like games, and you can also give them as rewards to students after you work. So the line is really blurred between what's a game and what's learning. And because of that, they're fun. I know I play with apps all the time, and I'm learning a language with one. They're meant to be fun. And again, there are many places to find the apps. You can go to those 2 stores and search there. There are many sites out there that you can find. There are blogs that show new locations every day. One of them is called edutopia.org. There are a couple Twitter accounts that show new apps all the time. And we also highlight some on our website. So we have a blended learning section of our website that we'll go into a little bit later. But this is a landing page with all of our apps that we have found out there. And they're broken down into different age groups, and this is just the ones for all ages highlighted here.
Thanks, Ryan. This is Natasha again. So the section I'm going to be covering right now is digital learning resources. And digital learning in the way that we're speaking about it refers to websites or web-based platforms that can provide teachers, students, and parents, and also tutors with high quality lessons either produced by that particular website, or they can also be collected from other sources and organized into one place and kind of categorized so you can find them more easily. So some of the ones we're going to be talking about today are Khan, CK12, PowerMyLearning, and also Learn Zillion. And then just those are the main ones, and then we'll talk about some of the smaller ones that you can access. So the benefits of these digital learning resources are that they're free to everyone. All of these platforms we're going to be talking about are free, and there's more out there that you can find. There's some that are subscription services, but there's enough available from the free sites that you can access. They're great for locations with internet access. If there's a computer lab there that you can jump on, this is a wonderful tool to use with your student. It's engaging. But if for sites without internet access, there's also a lot of printable lessons that you can download and you can bring to your session. There's also videos that you can learn from as a tutor and learn how to teach certain concepts. It's great for self-motivated students where if they can access the computer lab on times when you're not working with them, you can set them up with an account and they can go in and watch more lessons and do more activities. We know that's not always possible. It's difficult at the locations we work with, so the majority of the use would be through the tutoring session. It's great for tutors who know the level of their students because they're not adaptive per se, but some do have some assessments related to them where you can find out where to start with your student. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is Khan Academy. And Khan Academy is a nonprofit organization with the goal of changing education for the better by providing a free world-class education for anyone, anywhere. And you may have heard about Khan Academy before, and I don't know if you haven't visited though recently, they've made a lot of changes and improvements to their site, so it's definitely worth a visit. And Khan Academy believes that learning should be personalized for learners to move at their own pace, focused on mastery to fill learning gaps in foundational understanding, and interactive and exploratory. The content provided by Khan Academy, though, is focused primarily on math, so it doesn't have a lot of language arts. It has a little bit of history lessons and a little bit of science, but it's mostly math. And the great thing about a lot of these learning platforms is that you can sign in with a Facebook or Google account. So, you could set up something for your student. You could sign in through your account. If maybe, you can make sure to log out and clear your password information. But it makes it really easy so that you don't have to put in a lot to make an account. So the first time that you go on to Khan Academy, they have a pretest, and it's only 8 questions. And on the pretest, you can guess, you can try to work it out and submit an answer, and it'll record whether it's right or wrong. But if you're not at that level at all, like I'm not sure if I remember this, how to do this, you can also click on I haven't learned this yet, and so what that's going to do is keep dropping down your student in their level. And so like if you answer I haven't learned this yet for a couple times, it's going to drop you down to basic addition, and it's going to see what level you're on. So it's not it's not as sophisticated as some of the other programs that we're using, but it's accessible to everyone and on the internet, so you can do that pretest. So now we're going to go to the website, Khan Academy, and I'm just going to show you a few things. So when you're on the website, this is kind of the main dashboard that you look at. And right now I'm in 4th grade math. And what it has is there's ordered practice here, so you can start with there's different concepts like addition within 1,000, multiplication, and it continues on and moves through different concepts that it has you master. And so you also have mission progress on the right, so once you complete different areas, it will indicate that you completed those masters of those specific domains and those subjects. And then on the top, it makes it fun for the students because there's badges. You can earn points, so it's nice to have that reward system going on. You can compete with friends too if they're logged into the same classrooms, so that always keeps the students motivated. So we're going to look at a practice problem. So addition with 1,000. Again, it looks kind of like the pretest, so you work it out here, but you have different options in this case. You can type in an answer, and it'll tell you whether it's right or wrong. You can say, I'd like a hint, and it starts working through like, okay, you're working through this column and showing you how you carry over thing. And you can also watch a video. I'm not going to bring that up right now, but the videos are from the Khan Academy videos, and they just go through different concepts, and they're really informative both for students and for tutors. Like I said, you can learn how to teach the problem to your student. And then once you get 3 in a row correct in this domain, then that you've mastered that part, and then it moves you on to a different topic. So then on the up here on the Learn section, this is where you could skip to different grade levels, and also, like I said, there's some different subjects like science and humanities. There's history, art history. With math, it starts with early math and then continues from 3rd grade and up all the way up into college level math. And then also, if anybody's working with high school students that are preparing to take the SAT, there is a major change in the SAT that's going to take place in 2016. And the great thing is that Khan Academy is working to provide practice problems based on that new format. So that's going to be really helpful as that's evolving. And if we have any students that are out there that are going to be in that situation, this would be a great resource for them. Can you go back to the slide? So besides the platform, there is also a a coaching section on Khan Academy where you can sign up as your student's coach, and you can actually monitor their progress. You can assign them different sections. So that's if you do have a lot of internet access and you want to set that up beforehand, that's also a useful thing. And we're going to include. They have a user's guide for coaches on their website, so we'll include that in our resource section after. All right. So this next one we're going to talk about is CK12, and they're a foundation that's California-based, and they're striving to reduce the cost of and increase access to K-12 education. And they provide free and fully customized K-12 educational materials aligned to state curriculum standards and tailored to meet student and teachers' needs. Now, CK12 is only STEM resources. So it's science, technology, engineering, and math. And again, it's the same as Khan, where you can use Gmail or Facebook to log in. So on CK12, here you can find a topic for your class. So you could, for your student, you could type in a topic and search there. How CK started was they started as Flexbooks. And what that means is you can compile an online textbook that you can download with all different lessons, and they call that a Flexbook. So you can put that together for your students, so you could use that as your tutoring textbook if you knew what you wanted to work with. But I know often it's hard to figure out the specific things that you want to work with, but so you can go by subject. They have math, science, and some other things. You can do, let's see, I'll just try one. You can do math and maybe arithmetic, decimal addition, that's always a hard one. And so it comes up with a bunch of different lesson plans. There's things that you can read with your students, so you can print them out and read them. There's videos, there's activities, there's assessments, or kind of like quizzes, and some real-world application. So if you click on one of these activities, it brings it up, and so what you can do is you can download this and print that out to take to the lesson, or you can do it online, which is great. And here's what I was talking about, the Flexbooks. You can add certain lessons to a Flexbook, so you can kind of compile a bunch of lessons on that. There's some limitations in the content for grade level. There's more content available from middle school to high school, but I mean, you see there is a lot of arithmetic and as well. Oh, and another great thing about it, you can choose, I think it's back here. When you're looking at the lessons, on the right-hand side, it tells you about the level, and it says you can choose whether your student is maybe at a more basic level, so maybe a little bit below grade level, or at grade level, or advanced. So that can really help to make sure that the lessons aren't too advanced for them. All right. So the next one we have is PowerMyLearning. Oops, sorry. And we recently partnered with PowerMyLearning. They provide on their web platform a collection of thousands of the best online learning activities for K through 12, collected in one place and curated by a panel of educators. It's easily accessible and usable in one place, and you can log on as a student. But eventually we're going to try to set up classes for our tutors where you could log in and get content for specific grade levels. But right now you can go ahead and just do it as a student. So you want to go to the website. Thanks. And so, oops, I didn't log in here. All right, logged me out. It's actually SOW student. And I won't give you my password, but it's really easy to sign up for an account, so you can sign up. So when you go onto the website, it gives you a dashboard again where you get points, so it motivates the students. There's activities, and on the side here you can choose the level of the grade level of your student. And then this one does include a lot of language arts resources, so this is a good one to complement Khan Academy or the other one, CK12. So let's say we do like 3rd grade, and then language arts. You can just do all language arts, or you can go into specific topics. So language arts, there's just basic print lessons that you can pull up, and it actually gives you a preview underneath that tells you the grade, maybe a grade range, because some of them have a bigger range, and what standards it covers. And but then a lot of them are also video lessons, and you can bring them up, and they bring up games and sometimes PDFs and resources that you can click on. Like that they're collected from different sources. You can see there's Pearson, which is a big publisher. There's National Park Services, even like PBS will show up here, and Khan Academy will actually show up here too in the math section. So it's nice to be all in one place. And you can customize a playlist for your student, or you can use one of their certified playlists, which is a collection of lessons that you can go through together that are on the same topic. There's also reports available that show the activity and usage of your student, and you can refer to those if you're logged in as a teacher. But it's easiest to kind of go on the student platform and work from there. Do you want to go back to the slideshow? So the last one I'm going to talk about today is Learn Zillion. And I'll quote from their site, but it says, "It's hard to teach a lesson, it's harder to teach it well, and it's particularly hard to teach it in a way that resonates and sticks with students." So teachers not only have to understand their content, they have to know the best way to teach it. And that's even harder for our volunteers because we understand that most of you are not experienced teachers and you're coming in from different professions, and we want to try to give you a resource that can help. So Learn Zillion is definitely a good place to start. They have free videos that take you through steps of teaching a concept. Students could watch this if you have online access, but I think the most value could come for if you're trying to teach them a concept and you're looking for a way, and you go through the lesson first, and then the lessons they have a video, and then they have some things that can be downloaded. So like I said, even if you don't have internet access at your site, you could watch this before you go to your tutoring lesson and then download something to accompany it and bring that to your tutoring. So those are just some of the main ones we found are valuable and have had a lot of positive feedback. There are a lot of other resources, like we listed a couple here: FunBrain, PBS Kids, National Geographic, and those are all available to you. The other three are just more platforms that you can use on an ongoing basis. And we're going to continue to update our Tutor Center with new resources as they develop and keep you informed, and it's always changing. So we want to make sure you have the best to use. All right.
Okay, so what we've gone through so far, educational apps and digital learning, those are all things that you can start using right away. They're free online. Well, the educational apps, sometimes you have to purchase them. But you can go and get those right away and start using those for your tutoring sessions, and start using the different digital learning platforms as well. I'm now going to talk about the other two parts of our blended learning program, and these, if you wanted to be part of it, you would have to work a little bit more closely with your regional coordinator and us to get set up to do it. One thing we've been working on and testing out for the past couple of years is online tutoring. And online tutoring is just exactly what it sounds like. It's tutoring that occurs in a virtual environment using video and an online whiteboard. And this is, just like blended learning in general, this is something that's very new, but it is growing fast, and there are new websites all the time that you can use for online tutoring. Here are just a few. LTB stands for Learn to Be, and that's a nonprofit organization that we're partnered with that provides a free whiteboard online platform for doing online tutoring. Another one is called Studle, and that's a part of CK12 that Natasha talked about, and that's another one that can be used. Right now we are using Scootin' which is an app that you can get for Google Hangouts, and we're using that right now and testing that out as a platform, but we anticipate that in the future there will be many of these platforms that we can use for online tutoring. So the benefits of doing this for us is that we can, of course, reach more students. We can reach those students that are at more far-flung locations where we can't get tutors to go. We can also use new populations of volunteers. So we can use volunteers who may be homebound, who can't go out to the locations, volunteers who don't have cars in Los Angeles, and volunteers from all over the country. So using this can really open up the populations of volunteers that we use to help the homeless students in our programs. We can also use this platform to enable you to have a longer relationship with your student. So if you move far away, out of state, or even just across LA, can be difficult, we can help you tutor your student online so that you can continue to be with them and support them in their education. Similarly, if the student moves, if they do have high-speed internet access where they move to, you can continue to tutor them. And then the other way we can use this is just to provide additional support for our students. So if you want to tutor your student more than once a week, but you can't make the commute to the shelter or wherever they're living more than once a week, we can help set you up so you can maybe do one in-person tutoring session and then do an additional or more online tutoring sessions with your students. Now, the only thing right now about online tutoring is you do need high-speed internet on both ends, and that can be a challenge for us, especially with a lot of our shelters that just don't have that. So right now that's a challenge, but if you do tutor a student that has high-speed internet and you have it, you could tutor your student this way. Again, we're anticipating that in the future internet becomes faster everywhere and these programs take up less bandwidth, so we will be able to expand it more in the future. Right now we are saying that it's probably best for older students, 4th grade and up, and that's just because, and we'll show you how it looks, but it involves some typing. You have to navigate the online platform, so younger students have a little bit more difficulty from what we've experienced so far. And then, of course, you can't be a Luddite. Non-Luddite tutors are required for online tutoring. So I'm just going to show you, Ryan and I recorded an online tutoring session, and I just want to show it to you so you can see how it looks. So this is the basic platform. This is Scoot and Doodle, the one we're using right now. And I'm going to go ahead and play it and talk through it. So you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, Ryan and I, the video of us. In this situation, I'm the tutor and Ryan is the student. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner, there are different tools that you can use on this online whiteboard. There's pen tools, eraser, stamps, which we'll see in a few minutes, and little word bubbles that you can type in to communicate with your student. So Ryan and I are working on adding fractions. And you can also choose over on the right side the color of your pen. So I'm using red right now, and you can see down here Ryan will be using green. So I'm trying to see how well Ryan knows how to add fractions. And Ryan's kind of new to adding fractions, so he needs some work. So we got that problem wrong. And I, as the tutor, can give him a red X, saying that you got it wrong. Of course, you wouldn't do that. You would want to be more positive with your student, but maybe I don't know. That's the way I operate. So then I can see that Ryan needs more practice, so I kind of skip that, but you can upload worksheets to work on together. And I should say that when you are working on this, you can both write on this whiteboard at the same time. So when I was writing those fraction problems for Ryan, he was seeing it in real time, and he could, if he wanted to, write at the same time. So here I'm asking Ryan to try this first problem, but it seems as though Ryan still needs to work on his adding of fractions. So I give him another little stamp of this little guy crying. So then I know that, okay, I need to teach Ryan a little bit more about adding fractions. So in the upper left-hand corner of the platform, you can see different apps on Google Hangout, and there's one for YouTube. So prior to the session, you can queue up videos that you can show to your student during the online tutoring session. So here's one that I found on adding fractions. So I can play this, and Ryan and I are watching this at the same time together. And as you can see, there's a little button where you can push to talk if you want to talk to each other about what you're watching. And this would have volume, obviously, we just don't have it on this video. And there are countless numbers of videos online for whatever you're teaching. In fact, all Khan Academy videos are on YouTube as well, so you could queue these up while you're doing online tutoring. So we've tested this. We're looking to expand it a great deal this year and in the future. From our experience, it is really a great tool. The students are really engaged by it. As you can imagine, just using the computer is engaging for them, but also the multimedia aspect of it. You're drawing, you're typing, you're watching videos, you're doing worksheets. So it's a really great way to tutor students, and we're looking to expand it in the future. So if you do think there's a chance that you could do online tutoring, either in addition to your regular tutoring sessions or to replace it if you're moving or if the commute's too much for you, you can contact your regional coordinator and we can talk about how to help you do that. So that's online tutoring. We're really excited about where that's going to go in the future. Another part of blended learning that we're using and we're expanding a lot this year is called adaptive learning. And adaptive learning uses computers as interactive teaching devices, and the material is updated in real time according to the student's learning needs. So these programs assess the students and adapt the material to the student's level. So just like we aim to do as an organization, it will identify the gaps in their education and then give them material to help fill in those gaps. So using these types of programs, it's just a great fit for what we're doing. So they're usually game-like to engage students, or they use games as motivation for the students. As I said, they adapt to the students' learning needs and they fill in the gaps. So these are, again, these aren't programs like Khan Academy that are free online and you kind of have to navigate them yourself. These are programs that you have to have a sign-in for, and it's very individualized for that student. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more video of the program that we're currently using, the adaptive learning program. It's called Stride Academy, and I'm going to play this so you can see how it works. Students have a sign-in for their classroom, or how we do it is learning centers or shelters, and then they put that in, they pick their name, and then this is kind of the basic layout, the landing page for them. And as you can see in the upper right-hand corner is their information. So there's my name and, sorry, let me get back there. So in the upper right-hand corner is my name, the number of coins I have, and I'll show you how we earn coins in a minute here. And then you can also earn points for playing games. You get badges as rewards. Tells you how many questions you've answered, and then total number of coins. And so it is customizable or personal. They can personalize it. So if they did want to change, say, their avatar, they can click on avatar and go and pick the one that is more for them. Like that looks a little bit more like me than the other one. And then the way it works is you can see there are two coins, a math and a reading coin. We also have the ability to do science if we want to. But the student has the ability to choose what they want to do. So if they want to learn about math, they'll click on the math button. And then there are questions that the student has the answer to earn coins. So you can see I answered that question correctly. I earned coins, and now it's asking me if I want to play a game. So for every 8 coins you earn, you can use those coins to play 60 seconds worth of a game. So that's kind of the way the students are motivated to answer those questions. They have to learn about those concepts, answer those questions so they can earn coins to play the games that they want to play. Okay, and then if you go back to the main screen, there are also bonus videos that you can watch, and if you watch them the whole way through, and I'm saying you, but I mean the students, they can watch and earn coins that way. So here's a bonus video right here that I could watch if I wanted to earn 4 more coins. And then the students get to pick the games that they want to play. So there are a lot of different games. As you can see, there are sports games. There are also games like this, which is kind of the eraser. It's kind of like Angry Birds, all those games that you would get on your phone. And as you can see, there are leaderboards. So you play, the motivation factor is that the students play the games, they earn points playing the games so that they can be on this leaderboard. So you can see the other students that are in the same class or the same grade level. So the games, I mean, are meant to be engaging. They're not necessarily educational. You can argue that games like this and Angry Birds do have an educational component to them. The reward for answering the questions correctly and earning the coins. So this is just an example of one of the games. And it is, it's a problem solving. And this one is educational. You have to figure out which pieces to erase so that you can get these 2 lovebirds together. So that's basically how it works for the student. It's pretty easy in our experience so far, and Beth's going to talk a little bit more about that. The students pick it up pretty quickly, and they know what to do, and they know where to go. And we even have some students that we've done this with who the reward just is the coins. They're actually just trying to earn as many coins as possible, and they're not using them to play games. So it is very motivational, and so far we've found that it's very effective with our students. Okay, so as you just saw, Stride Academy uses a reward system using games and leaderboards. A big benefit of it is it can be used on tablets. Also, you as the tutor will get automatic emails that have customized downloadable study guides based on the student's progress in the program. So they will be assessed, and then you are emailed these workbooks. And these workbooks are very individualized to the student, and it's based on their learning needs. So it's very helpful. So you can use this workbook when the student doesn't have homework to help them catch up on those things that they need to catch up on. In addition to that, there are easy-to-read reports. I'm just going to show you a couple of examples. So you're also emailed these reports that you can look at, and you can see this is a classroom of students, and you can see how many questions they answered correctly, the percentage. And if they're above a certain percentage, they're in green because they're passing. Yellow is kind of so-so, and red is basically they need a lot of work on that particular concept. And just another example of a report. So this is over time when the students are using this, you can really look at these and see where they've been, see how far they've come. So this one you can see it just shows the 3 subjects, and it shows how this particular student has increased grade levels in all three, math, reading, and science. So the benefits, right now we're using these mostly at long-term shelters, but we're open to doing it other places. The reason we say long-term shelters is just because it's most effective when the students use it over time, and it's easier at those long-term shelters to do that. The locations where we can use this, if you think this is right for you and you'd like to use it, you do have to have computers and internet access at your location. Right now, in some places we're using that rotation model that we talked about earlier when we're doing group tutoring, and that enables a smaller number of tutors to work with more students at the same time. And we can also use it just for assessment and to supplement one-on-one tutoring. So if this is possible for you and you would like to do this, you can contact your regional coordinator and get in contact with us, because for the one-on-one tutoring situation, it's a great way to really assess your student and get materials that are exactly on the level that they need help on. So that's Stride Academy, and if you think it would work for you in your tutoring situation, let us know and we can set you up with it. We've been using it at our Skid Row Learning Center for quite a while now, and Beth has been observing, and I'll let her talk about her experience and what she's seen of Stride Academy here at our Learning Center.
Thanks, Matt. I observed students using Stride Academy for about a 5-week period daily. Students who used it from day to day varied, but this was the goal was to observe if the Stride Academy improved the students' academic progress and kind of what they thought about using computers and tutors. And good news for you, the kids like using tutors more than using the computers, although they do prefer using both together primarily. As Matt showed you, the games on Stride Academy are kind of the primary motivating tool in the game, and the kids really do love the games. The eraser game that he showed you was a favorite. I couldn't figure out how to play it for a really long time, but the kids really loved it and would go back to it over and over again. Also, there was a basketball one that they loved too. And most of the kids, when they started using Stride Academy, because of the way it's presented, you get a question, you get 4 answers. You get it right or you get it wrong. You have a question, you get 4 answers, you get it right or you get it wrong. If the information is too hard, the kids just start to guess because they know once they get those 8 coins, they get to play a game, and that is their goal. So another feature that Stride has is that if the kids are clicking on answers too quickly, tutor will get an email saying your student's guessing, so remind them to think. And that's kind of one of the key roles of the tutors, is to kind of help the kids slow down and think about going through the questions. As I was working with the kids, a lot of times I had to kind of insist on helping them with the questions if they didn't know. I had to stop them, make them think, because they're so set on just going to the next thing, going to the next thing. So I was a bit frustrated at the beginning just because they didn't seem to really be interested in asking for help or stopping to thinking. I think that had a lot to do of, this happened after they spent 6 hours in the classroom, so they were a bit tired. But what I found over time was some of the kids became very excited about learning how to answer the questions correctly. And they would start to ask for help when they saw that the help was benefiting them. And instead of just guessing and hoping they got the questions right, they actually would get them right because they thought about it. And like Matt had said, a couple students went from 8 points play game, 8 points play game to I'm going to earn 100 points today. And then they would not play games, and they'd accumulate their points. And every time they got to 100 points, they'd want to tell everybody, that Miss Allison and all their friends, I got this many points today. And it was quite exciting for them, and they wanted to work hard and do it. So that was kind of the main observation of using Stride Academy. I'm happy to hear that they have much more videos and worksheets available. At the beginning, there weren't very many available, and the instructional tool in the game was one concern that I had about using Stride Academy. But with those, it's much more opportunity for you as a tutor to help the kids and teach them those thinking skills that are going to be becoming much more important in school as their standards evolve to Common Core. So in the end, the goal of, or one of the benefits of having you as a tutor work with the students while on Stride Academy is to kind of, one, help focus them. It's easy for them to get distracted, to help them thinking, to kind of act as their cheerleader as they go through the questions, to help them get the answer, to encourage them, to praise them, to be excited with them when they are gaining points, when they're earning badges. And because some kids are, you know, every kid has different learning needs, having you there, you're able to kind of more individualize the game for the kids as they're playing it. Also, since the instructional component of Stride Academy is still limited, although improving, a lot of the sites that Natasha spoke about, Khan Academy and Learn Zillion, you can use in conjunction with Stride Academy. And while Stride kind of would work more as a jumping off base and an assessment tool, you can use those other sites to kind of supplement the instruction and then go back to Stride so the kids can see how far they've come, how much they have learned. And also for you, too, even if you don't have those access to those computer programs, coming up with other activities to supplement the questions in Stride Academy is another benefit of having you working with the kids. So primarily, you are the one that's really going to make Stride Academy very successful as their mentor and cheerleader and helper in going through the levels.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing that with the students.
Thanks, Beth. So those are our 4 main programs that we're using right now, but I just wanted to talk briefly about the future and what we might be using in the future. One thing we're looking at is gaming. And just some statistics, 58% of Americans now play video games. The average age of a U.S. gamer is 32. The average gamer spends 18 hours a week gaming, which is more than 2.5 hours a day. And 71% of parents with children under 18 see gaming as beneficial to mental stimulation or education for their students. So everyone's in education is looking at gaming and trying to figure out how, first of all, to use the skills that students are already developing during those 18 hours a week playing these games. A lot of these games, like the one you're looking at, which is called Portal, there's a lot of problem solving involved with it, and it's very, even though it's not teaching specific like educational concepts, it is teaching critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving skills that the students can use in their daily lives as well. So not only looking at the skills that they're already developing, but looking at ways to develop games. And when I say gaming, I'm talking about the deeper games for like the video game systems like Xbox and PlayStation, as opposed to educational apps that are a little bit simpler and yeah, not as complex and deep. So we're looking at that. I personally have a PlayStation, and I'm excited about the possibility of using these kind of games to help students with their education. Another thing is online collaboration. A lot of schools are doing this. We're just looking at it. It's not the perfect fit right now for our program, but a lot of classrooms use online platforms to share ideas, to share homework, calendars, things like that, to share work that they've done. And we've tried this a little bit. Those of you who have been with us for a while, we try a lot of these things over the summer, and we've done things on not Instagram. We've done things on
Pinterest.
Pinterest, that's it. Sorry, I don't do either of those. But we were sharing things we were working with on Pinterest. So we are testing those kinds of things. And then virtual field trips, which I'm going to let Ryan talk about a little bit.
Yeah, we're very excited about the possibility of adding virtual field trips to our program. And I actually did not know what this was just a few months ago, but basically from what the title is, I mean, you can kind of figure it out, but it's where you and your student go on a field trip virtually through your computer. And that could be visiting a museum, touring historic sites, or experiencing nature. And these are great alternatives to real field trips because they're free and require very little coordination. No cars, no traffic. But they also do require internet access at the tutoring location. And there are a few options out there, but Google has a new program called Connected Classrooms that I just want to show you and show you a little video. What it is basically they curate field trips for classrooms to go on, and they have experts on the other end asking questions and kind of giving information about that place. And they have a calendar of past and future field trips, and all of the ones in the past are accessible, and you can click on them and see the actual field trip that happened. But you can also look at their calendar and see future events and virtually attend those ones. And in the past, they've teamed up with Polar Bear International, National Geographic, San Diego Zoo, the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and many more. And I just want to show a short video. Hopefully this plays for you guys. It's 2 minutes, and they show exactly what this program is.
Today we did a virtual field trip. Schools from across the country were able to join us via a Google Hangout. It's really easy to connect us with the whole wide world.
Do octopuses in color?
I think it might have cut out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so that didn't work as well as we had hoped, the video. That video is available. We'll put it in our little resources page when we publish this. But, I mean, if you could see from the choppiness of that, I mean, basically you can see that there are videos on both ends and classrooms on one end and the expert on the other, or the location on the other. But, again, we'll provide that link for you guys.
Yeah, and we're really excited about the possibility of doing these with our students because, as you know, transportation is a big issue with our students being homeless, being in the situations that they are in. So this provides an opportunity to virtually travel all over the world and see things they otherwise wouldn't be able to. So we're excited about that. So just in summary, when it comes to technology and education and blended learning, these are the 4 areas that we are incorporating into our program: educational apps, digital learning resources, online tutoring, and adaptive learning using Stride Academy right now. If you think that, as I said before, digital learning resources and the educational apps you could start using right away if you want to. If you think online tutoring or adaptive learning, Stride Academy might be right for you in your tutoring situation, get in contact with us. We'd love to try and make it happen with you and your student. And finally, I just wanted to show you our website and where you can find more information about blended learning. So it's from our main page, it's under the Tutor Center, and you could see the blended learning link, which will have more information about everything we talked about today.
Thank you, Matt. There were just a couple questions that I wanted to address before we leave you today, and you can go ahead and keep entering in the questions while we go. one question, a more general thing that I forgot to mention, and someone asked, what do you mean by the core? I think we talked about core. So Common Core is the new set of standards that is going to be started in the schools to replace the state standards. And we're hopefully going to do a whole webinar on that subject. It's basically it's more rigorous curriculum, and it's more in depth in different areas. And instead of learning a wide scope of information all at once and not really getting into the depth of knowledge, it's doing that. It's getting into more specific topics and learning more about select topics. And so hopefully our webinar explained a little bit better than I have, but what we're looking at when we look at these resources is that we want to make sure that they're Common Core aligned, that they aren't just based on the old standards, because the teachers are going to be bringing that up, and that's what they're going to be referring to when they want the students to learn specific topics. So let me know if you have any other questions on that specifically, but that's the resources that we did share today. As far as the main digital learning platforms are Common Core aligned, and so is Stride Academy as well. And there was another question about can you provide a walkthrough or step-by-step to access Khan Academy using a smartphone? There are two different ways. You could just go on the website and access Khan Academy, but it's a little clunky because it's not set up for the accessing it on such a small screen. But Khan Academy also does have an app that you can download, and you can access the videos from Khan Academy directly from that app. I don't think you can do the pre-tests and some of the other features, but you could pick out a playlist beforehand, and you can play those on your smartphone when you're at your tutoring session. You just have to do a little bit of work before you go there. I know we had another question that was submitted beforehand about specific typing resources. We're going to email that to you. You know, there's really anything you could think of, any kind of concept that you're trying to teach to your student, they're trying to learn, there's a resource for it. It just takes a little bit of Googling, and you know what we tried to do is empower you today with some of those tools. You know, those main platforms are a good source if you're just not the kind of person that can go to Google and type in a few things and find a good resource, and you feel frustrated by that. I would check out then some of those PowerMyLearning or CK12 and go directly there. But you know, if you're a good researcher and you can sift through the things that come up on a Google search, you can find a lot of good stuff pretty quickly, and we're going to list them on our website, and we're always available if you have any questions. If you want to find a specific resource, ask your regional coordinator, and then we'll make sure that gets to you. And there was a comment by one of the tutors asking about preparation before you go tutoring is key, and it was kind of a question comment, but yes, we agree. Like, you know, we know that you're volunteers and you don't have a lot of time, and that's why we're trying to get you the information that you can use right away in these lessons. But if you're, you know, just spending 10-20 minutes before your session at least, going in and trying to figure out what you're going to work with, and that's going to benefit your students so much more than showing up at that session and not having anything and relying on their homework, which they may or may not have. You know, we always say we're not just there to work on homework, we're trying to supplement that with other resources, and these online resources are really engaging. And like I said, if you have the internet there at your location, you may not have to spend as much time preparing before you go, because you can kind of just bring up a resource and it's there. But if it's something that you can use, you know, at home to download a PDF of what you want to work on that day, it's still helpful to go to those internet sites. I don't see any other questions right now. All right. Is there a good blended resource for dyslexic students? I'm sure there is. Again, we could look that up. I don't have everything at the tip of my fingers right now, but I'm sure there's websites that address it specifically, and not just like not just online lessons, but like actually getting in there and knowing how to work with that, because that can be a common problem with our students. You might want to make sure that see if they've been diagnosed or not with that, or talk to their teacher as well. But if that's definitely something that is a problem for that student, then we can help you find a resource that can help.
Yeah, I think just what Natasha said about talking to the teachers, I mean, in general, we would love for all our tutors to be in communication more with their students' teachers. They can be a great resource, and we try and be as much of a resource as possible for you, but of course the teachers that are there every day with the students know their learning needs best. So yes, please contact your student's teacher and talk to them about what would be most beneficial for that student. And when it comes to special needs like dyslexia, the teachers know best, and they would know where to point you to. But yeah.
It doesn't look like there are any more questions right now. I just wanted to remind you that we will post the recording of this workshop on our website, as well as the slides and a link to the links for all these different programs and any other materials that you would need for that. And like I said, we're always available ongoing to answer any questions. We just want to make sure that you have the tools you can use to help your student in tutoring. We really know that technology is a big part of it. So thank you again for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and wanting to learn more to help your student. And you can follow up with any questions to myself or any of us here. You can find our websites or emails on the School on Wheels website, and we can also get you in touch with Beth if you have questions about Stride Academy. All right. Thank you, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.